Hello and welcome back to the Minetrek.net game server. This will be an update on the Enterprise D progress. Not a lot has gone on. We've been working through the neck section of the Cobra head here. We have most of the neck, actually the entire neck is now completed. I believe I'm down here working on deck 27, which is the deck, where is 27? There's 26, 27, this deck, right here, right below the airlock. So we're now below the, I believe we are below the, according to deck 26, 27, yes, we are below the photon torpedo launcher, right above, or just starting to get into the deuterium tank here. Yeah, that is a deuterium tank, and it goes several decks. It's a pretty big tank. If you've seen some of the previous videos, you know she's pretty large. So I'm not sure why they need so much deuterium for such a small motor, but it is what it is. So anyways, let's go ahead and fly up here real quick, and I'll walk you through these decks here. And we'll go ahead and start. Well, let's go ahead and go up to the bridge here. Let me go ahead and pop into the bridge and stabilize. Come on, there we go. Anyways, this is the battle bridge, and I see I have to set up better leaf decay again, or better leaves again, because I have that nasty looking crap growing on my view screen there. Anyways, this is the battle bridge. It hasn't been redesigned yet, but God, I hate when Minecraft does that noise, don't you all? There's no way to turn it off. Actually, I think there might be a way to turn it off. Let's go ahead and see if we can go ahead and go options, music, sound. It'd be, well, I think it'd be ambient noise, but wouldn't that also affect my footfalls and block placings? I don't think so. So, and we don't need weather on, and voice speech, we don't need that on. So hopefully we won't hear that again. So that's rather annoying. Anyways, the battle bridge will probably be redesigned, go to a more contemporary design than this nasty looking setup that it currently is in. Hopefully soon rather than later. But yeah, this bridge is definitely dated. So what we've been doing is we've gone ahead and started adding in all the Jeffries tubes and whatnot to the drive halls. The saucer is completely done as far as all this stuff. Still a lot of rooms have to be filled in, like crew quarters and stuff like that, but all the system rooms are filled in. I'm also updating the walls as I go. Again, the saucer has to be updated as well to this new block pattern and stuff. The server is now modded, so it requires the downloading of the Minetrek mod and a couple of support mods like Chisel and Bits and some other stuff. I believe the Facebook page and a couple of the other pages cover that, or the forums cover that, so, or have links to where you can download the needed mods, and mHeller usually keeps that pretty updated. So if you have problems, you try to log on the server and it tells you you're missing mods and stuff, that's why you need to download the Minetrek mod and install it. It's really easy. You just update your Forge and then you dump everything else into your mod folder. So, and there are some Java arguments that we are using to try and make things run smoother, because there are some issues, like if I go to my replacer tool here and activate it, and if I say select this block here, and then of course I try to replace these blocks, as you can see, sometimes it just doesn't want to do it as fast. It just delays out, and we don't know what causes this. It appears that I'm the only player affected by it, and the only way to undo it or to temporarily fix it is to wipe my player data on the server. So building on the ship here has slowed considerably during this process, and I've only been able to do so much. Now, prior to going to a modded server, I was able to get down a couple of decks. I think we were down to deck 14, and that's when we switched over to the modded server. So everything from deck 14 down has been done post modded server, and that's when that delay issue thing started happening. And again, we're not sure what causes it. It could be related to the undo redo thing or whatever. It's Minecraft. God only knows what's going on with Minecraft. But if you come through here, you can see what we've been up to, filling in a bunch of stuff, making sure rooms are, this area here is all filled in. Now this directly above us is hull, so there's nothing I can do about roofing that. it is Hull. Let's go ahead and slow down here. Be careful we're not flying around. And yeah, with Hull, there's not much I can do. I don't have the height to do half slabs, so we're not doing anything in that area there. And if we come down through here, we'll go on down to deck 9. This is the phaser array for the forward section of the ship. And if you come out of the ship here, I'll show you real quick. As you see, we just transitioned through that phaser. Yep, and we'll transition back through that phaser. That's what that is. That's a phaser. And come through here, this right here are clamps that allow us to dock with the saucer and interlock. These are the interlocks for the saucer. If we come up through here, you can see that that's what these are. Currently, they're retracted, but if they were open, then this section here would, this part right here would couple with another part from the saucer, and it would transfer via magnetic interlocks. It would basically be harder than a welded connection. So magnets are very powerful. All right, so we're back up here again, up on this deck 8, and we'll walk back through here. And I did do some revision work. There used to be a door here, and I decided I don't need a door there, so because I have the Jeffries tube right here. Actually, let's go ahead and, no, we don't want to go through that. We'll just come down through here. And so I just decided to get rid of an extra door there and just have the Jeffries tube entrance right there. Come through here, we have the gangway for the deck. A couple of offices. Again, some of these offices, a lot of these offices and crew quarters are not filled in. The only areas I focused on filling in are, like, you know, system rooms and things like that. This here is a medical storage area, so basically whatever, you can put up beds and things like that in there if you have to, but sick bay or something is right here. This is the deck 8 sick bay or first aid station, but it's also the main sick bay for the neck of the ship. Again, every deck has a security station and a first aid station or two. And the reason for that is the ship is compartmentalized. So if part of the ship is open to vacuum, you still can get first aid, you know, from deck to deck, deck to deck. And sometimes, you know, if you're in space, yeah, you need redundancies. And the ship is, you know, it has a crew complement of 1,000. It can carry up to 6,000 people. So in that case, it's a city. And in a city, you need a lot of access to a lot of things. People get sick, and systems get taxed, and that's why the Enterprise has so many redundant systems, because if you had 6,000 people on this ship, it would tax the environmental system considerably. So the Enterprise has a lot of redundant systems. Every deck has its own life support system, plus then there's the main life support system, and then auxiliary life support, redundant life support, deck life support. Yeah, it just goes on and on and on. So there's a lot of systems in this ship that have to be and have been added and stuff. This just goes up here around the top of the bridge for maintenance and stuff, and then this right here actually is the Jeffries tube interconnect to one of them to the saucer, and the other one is right up here. Now, if we went through this one and we were joined with a saucer or coupled with a saucer, we would actually be in the main Jeffries tube throughput. So we would climb up here, and then we'd lock the entire length of it to the center shaft right below the main bridge, and then that would allow us to go up to the main bridge. So that's how you would navigate the Jeffries system. So everything is interconnected. Designing this ship has been a lot of fun. It's been, what, 3.5 years now, and we're just still working on cosmetic stuff. But the overall design of the ship is pretty much done. I've done some revision work on the lower decks. I've redone some things that didn't quite work, that just needed to be revisited, and I'm pretty happy with those changes as well. Let's go ahead and grab a stairwell here and go on down to deck 9, and then work our way on down from there. And again, this is deck 9, and as you can see in the image up in the upper right corner there, it's pretty well laid out. But it's been fun designing stuff and coming through and designing the ship based off of, you know, a lot of it's my own design, coming through designing, well, we need to have Jeffries tubes, because neither the Whitefire plans and the Sternbach plans had Jeffries tubes, and neither the Whitefire plans and the Sternbach plans were complete plans in and of themselves. And we wanted, you know, a ship that we could be proud of, post-Nemesis sort of era thing. And this design is it. We've spent a lot of time working on it and doing what needs to be done. Unfortunately, you know, as we go, things change. There's another phaser right here, by the way. Things change. The resource pack has changed. The server, of course, is now modded, and there are a lot of modded blocks that can be used. I have not yet started using modded blocks. My focus is to stick with the vanilla blocks for now, and then once the ship is done, revisit it with modded blocks and so forth. This right here is the main power shunt interconnect between the saucer and the primary hull, or excuse me, the drive hull and the saucer. So when they're connected together, the umbilicals between the two ships interconnect right here, and then of course go down this inner side here all the way down to the warp core, so, or behind the warp core. That's how all the power is done. Now I haven't added the system here yet. I still have to do that. So there are some areas where I haven't actually completed stuff, but I'll get it done. And my main focus right now is to get all the Jeffries tubes in and get all that stuff worked out. So come through here, and we should be just above the hangar, if I'm not mistaken now. There she is. There's the hangar. So come down through here. You can see we've been pretty busy. Some areas allow us to do one style of Jeffries tube. Another area allows us to do other styles, like this one right here. You know. Now, if we look here, we're almost down to the hangar itself, but this is kind of a lounge area for, you know, viewer and stuff. And there's the bathroom over there. And you know what? I have replaced these doors a dozen times, and somebody keeps going through and changing the doors on me, and I'm getting tired of having to come back through and after I've done my stuff and fix things over and over and over again. It is most annoying to have to do this repeatedly. So that means if that's been done, we got to go to the other side, because it most likely too has been tampered with. By the way, we ran into an issue where all the chests had to be removed. So yeah, they were causing the chunk that they were in to not update. And that's probably what caused that, is the chunk didn't update. So I have to go back through and make sure everything on these upper decks and stuff is, see, right there. Let's go grab this one here real quick. The chunk, since there are chests in this area, they didn't allow this chunk to update. And even though it was updated, but when I copied it back into the ship, it kept the old chunk that was there and didn't copy over the revised chunk. Because again, chests. Very annoying. Very, very annoying. These bastards right here cause a lot of problems. So I've been trying to fix them as I find them, but you know how it is. Sometimes you find them, sometimes you don't. See, this side's been done, so yeah. Interesting. Go ahead and walk around here. One of these days we should do an actual deck-by-deck tour of the ship. That would be kind of fun. At least I think it'd be fun. Who knows? It might not be fun. We'll come on down here and take a look around down here. And anyways, here's the lower hangar bay of the Enterprise. Very in-depth, very cool design. I remember actually designing this and when the hull was completely empty and just laying all this stuff out, trying to get the size scaled correctly, and you know, it just seems like eons ago, and I can barely remember doing it. But yeah, I didn't do any of the design work in here. All I did was lay out the room. So all the design work and stuff like that, all this detail you see here, that was done by other folks. But as to the actual design of the ship, I'm very proud of how I did it. I can say that, bar none, the D was really what got me going into Minecraft in the first place. And to go full circle on it is, you know, it's my start, because I tried to build a galaxy and then I realized that that's a big ass ship. And then here I am actually building it. So I built it. So I'm pretty proud of it. I am very proud of this body of work. And as a fan of Star Trek and a fan of blueprints and things like that, I think I'd eventually migrate to a program like this regardless. And I mean, even when I was a kid, I used to like try to draw the insides of like battleships and destroyers, even old galleons and things like that, because I was always fascinated by that. And then of course, you know, I was introduced to Star Trek when I was like, I don't know, 6, 7 years old, and fell in love with it. fell in love with the Enterprise because, you know, there are these people running around a spaceship, and it has corridors. It doesn't look anything like, you know, the old Mercury rockets or the Saturn rockets. You know, it was just really cool to see. And I've always wanted to go on board that ship and look around. Get on it and explore it and check stuff out and things like that. And now, you know, because of Minecraft, we can do that. No other program allows us to do do it to this scale, to build these massive ships and then walk through them without having to load 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10,000 load screens. You know, albeit it doesn't have the detail of, like, you know, the Unreal game engine, but it does have its, you know, its pros and cons. Of course, it's voxel based, but, you know, that's why we're modded now, so that we can get around some of that stuff. And I'm sure some of the builders will, especially Jamie, who's working on the Luminosity B. That's his big baby, and it's a big ship. And I'm glad that I was able to help with that as well. At least set up some of the deck plans for it and get him going in the right direction and things like that. And we did some revision work to that ship not too long ago, the lower hangar area. And there's still something else I want to do to that as well. I got to go through over there and update that as well. But yeah, you know, it's fun designing these things. You know, from my first, you know, Nova to this thing right here. You know, it's been a hell of a journey over, oh my gosh, 8 years now, 7 years, because I think I started playing in 2011. So it has been. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and go on down here and keep exploring these decks just to kind of check them out. A lot of the decks are similar in layout, but some decks are just slightly larger than the other decks, or slightly smaller, so there are changes between them. Well, I want to get down here to below the hangar, and I wanted to show you a change that I went ahead and made. I think we have to go down another deck to get to it, though. But we'll try and see here. Maybe it's this deck here. Is it this one? Yes, it is this one. Alright, beforehand, this corridor ended right here. And this area here was pushed all the way back around this to right here. And it occurred to me, I can see a flaw right now that nobody else can see, and I'm not going to point it out because I'll have to come back and fix it myself. But anyways, I had no way to get back over into this little corner over here other than to use a, you know, separate gangway or turbo lift or Jeffries tube, and I didn't really, it kept bugging me, and I decided, you know what, we've got so much cargo space on board this ship, I can lose a little bit of cargo space to gain an access route. So what I did is I went ahead and closed this area off and added some batteries in this area here, and I just made a corridor to go all the way around this section here. And of course we lose, you know, the storage area that this used to be, but again, we've got so much storage space on this ship that, you know, we could stand to lose it a little bit. And then here we are, connected to the back section of the ship. And after doing that, I was very happy with this change. And that's a recent change. And of course you come back through here and you're back into this cargo bay area again, and you know, there's a lift. And we've had, like I said, when we had some issues with the, you can see remnants of some of it around here and things like that, like this, you know, it just doesn't look right. I don't know why, but that just doesn't look right to me. But well, it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look like one of those, does it? It's because it's not supposed to be there. And let's go ahead and double check here. It should be 1, 2, 3 across, and so that shouldn't be there either. And that, yeah, maybe that does have to be there. But yeah, what happened is these chests that were all over these ships and everything else, these shuttle bays and everything else, you can see it right down through here. For some reason, and I still haven't figured out how it happened, a lot of this stuff got merged together with other things. And again, it's just, I've been going through trying to clean it up and fix it as I find these horrible, horrible mutations. And there's not much you can do about it. It's Minecraft, and sometimes things get screwed up in Minecraft, and especially doing world edits and things like that. But working a big build like this, it's bound to run into a couple of, you know, issues, especially when there were people copying sections out and not and then mirroring them, then putting them back in, and just breaking shit left and right. I have found so many areas where somebody pulled an area out, mirrored it, and put it back in the ship, and they'd be like one block off. And when I did that, I did everything deck by deck by deck, so everything lined up. So I didn't have any of that, one block higher, than the port side section of the port side you'd be walking along, and all of a sudden you'd step up because somebody cut a section out and raised it up or mirrored that section and copied it over here. That's what happened in this area. They copied that side of the ship and then mirrored it and then put it back in here, and this whole section was one block off and 2 blocks in wrong, and I had to completely rebuild this whole area. And again, I missed some stuff, but that's the kind of stuff I've been running into, and it really frustrates the hell out of me because nobody knows who did it. I have a pretty good idea who did it, and they get that person, you would get a little bit, shall we say, take some feel good herb, and get a little baked, and I have an idea, and proceed to do that idea, and in the process of doing that idea, really fucked us on more than one occasion. And I've gone through and I've fixed a lot of the issues that I've been finding and stuff, and that's one of the reasons we go through the ship deck by deck by deck, because I find a lot of stuff like that. And there are some areas where I've made some mistakes, like not properly connecting this area to the forward section, and that allows me to buy time and figure out how to do this and everything else. And I'm very happy with some of this revision work that I've done. So every time I find a mistake, it gives me an excuse to revisit and work over an area again to try and make it better, and so forth. And that's so in a way, it's a good thing. In a way, it's as aggravating as as you can imagine it being. So one thing I did do is these rooms are broken up into living space, long bedroom, and then office bathroom. And what I've been doing is I've been getting rid of the wall that goes along here, making a very large living space, and then combining this room with the bathroom. So I've been basically streamlining the crew quarters. And it's been a process because I've made some mistakes and layout wise and things like that. So I've had to go back through and redesign a bunch of stuff. And it's been a learning process, but it's been a fun process nonetheless. So make sure all these doors are in here. So we have a back lounge back here. Small observation lounge. Sweet. 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 Sounds like sweet, because it is sweet. Alright, we'll come through here. And again, if anybody wants to redesign this area to get rid of how funky it looks, or like along this wall and stuff, it just, I don't know, it just looks uglier and shit to me. Feel free to drop me a PM or drop him a PM, and we'll pull this section out, this 4-deck or 5-deck tall section here, and you can go to town on it. I'd like to keep this center thing here if possible, but I'm not married to it. If you want to rework this entire aft section, give me a buzz and we'll talk about it. Because yeah, it's just hideous. And I've never liked the way this looked, and I don't know why we had to have it done this way, but somebody threw a temper tantrum and got stuck with it, and now we don't have to worry about the temper tantrum anymore. So I don't know if somebody's gone through and actually changed these blocks, because the issue that I've been running into, you see this one right here? I think they're supposed to be wrong here, and I'm pretty sure that they were. So this might be somebody else coming through behind me making changes, so I'm not going to worry about it, because again, there will be another pass, and that pass will be for all this little funky detail stuff that is just driving me nuts. I don't know why or how we go from, it just is what it is. We just have to accept it. That's above my pay grade, but what can you do? You just gotta roll with it. Gotta roll with it, because yeah, multiple ideas. And this kind of stuff I don't have the detail for, the attention to detail, because I don't know if this is supposed to be here or if that's supposed to be there, because this is supposed to be like a rail that you can like lean on and run your hand on as you walk down the corridor or something, but yeah. Now, okay, that is a number. I gotta be careful, because I replaced all the magenta with black terracotta, so that when you look at the Dynamap, if you look at the lower right of the Dynamap on the web page itself, if you see this was the Dynamap, you look over in this area right here, you'll see the actual deck layout. And it's not organized in a way that you can look down and see all the decks, because we have parts of the saucer connected to parts of the neck, so right next to each other. So some parts are obscured by other parts, but eventually they'll all be laid out individually, and you'll be able to see each individual deck of the Enterprise D at a glance by using the Dynamap or something else in the near future and something like that. It's just made so that it's more convenient and gives players something to look at and things like that. So let's go ahead and come down here and come down into here. Now we're into a the lowest part of the hangar, and this is the work B area, or the maintenance area for the shuttlecrafts. Got ourselves a little cargo or parts. And dang it! I know I fixed that. I know it's probably another one of those damnable chests causing me problems. God dang, those things are just annoying. I'm going to be walking through. I cannot record a video without finding something to fix every time I do it. So, yeah. Yeah, what can you do? It's Minecraft, You just live and learn. But these crew quarters here, as you can see, beforehand there would be like a wall right here, and this whole section would be a bedroom, and then there's like a little office here. Well, I just you know what? We don't need a big bedroom. We don't need an office. We need more living space, because we can break the living space up into any way we want to do it. So this became a bit of a rework, but this became a large bedroom, or semi-large bedroom with an attached bath. And that's the stuff I've been doing as I've been working through the Enterprise here. And it's been a process, but it's been a fun process. And let's go ahead and F on down here and come through here real quick and see how it's coming together here. There we go. 6. Yeah, come on, let me walk. There we go. But laying out these Jeffries tubes, it's been a lot easier than I thought it would be. That's for darn sure, because I was really just sweating how this was going to be done and everything else. And they've actually been going together really good. Now, again, we're not really into the drive hull yet, so that could become a completely different story. But for the neck, it's been pretty straightforward. It's been pretty easy to do and stuff like that. Here's one of the main supports for the neck area. This is for 2 decks right here, and it's just a simple system. But then we come back here and we have a redundant system right back through here. Got to get around the corner here. These are crew quarters. You can probably see it right there up in the map on the upper right hand side. We'll come around the corner here. We'll come into it. But yeah, we have this system through here. This is a redundant system for alien habitat and things like that. But basically, it's just a redundant life support. So everything gets worked on. It's a big ship, and you got to fill it with something. Actually, I'm not sure exactly. Double check here. This is what this is: system, machinery, alien, multi-species, alternate environment. So yeah, if they have to convert some of the crew quarters to methane gas, they can do it. Since we're close to the impulse engines now, we get that impulse engine bass sound. And this was really fun to lay out, and I'll tell you that much, because this goes all the way up the spine, all the way up to deck 8. So, and then of course, you come through here and come back, and port side, things like that, and you come forward. If you come here, you can see we're actually right above the impulse bay. And in order to actually go down, you have to come all the way down here to here. Now we just skipped across a couple of decks. And here's another revision that I did. Beforehand, this whole area here, this wall was pushed all the way back, and this whole section here, all of this was part of the impulse bay. And I realized that it's kind of stupid to have a first aid station for the impulse bay and only have access to it from the impulse bay. Well, wouldn't it, I mean, that's kind of dumb. Wouldn't the rest of the ship have access or, to that area? So what I did is I pushed that wall, which used to come to right here. There was a door right here into the impulse bay. I pushed the wall back and I extended this corridor down. And I didn't lose that much room, and it actually, to me, it looks better the way it is now. It looks more uniform. Beforehand, there was this big cove in here. It didn't feel right. It didn't look right, and I wanted to fix that. So I pushed this, redesigned this area so that this corridor now comes back into this area here, which I think was a good change. A very good change, to be honest with you. And not much other than that through here. Let's go ahead and this right here, of course, is the upper torpedo storage and stuff. And I didn't really do much change-wise up through here, but again, just modified the crew quarters to make them a little bit more crew quarter-esque and added in windows because there's a lot of windows on the neck, a natural weak point on the ship. But I did go through and I added in all of this stuff here for the racks, the torpedo storage, and things like that, because we have to have that in here because torpedoes are stacked right here all the way up. And there's going to be, I bet at least 1,000 plus torpedoes that could easily fit into this section. Of course, there are phasers and things like that for security. And I think I did actually revise this deck to have its own separate security deck, but I may not have. And that's why those phasers are up there, because that was probably something I didn't. Yeah, I did. I have a little security section here. So I did add it. Cool, cool. Little holding cell area. Again, every deck has a first aid and or a holding cell. We'll go ahead and, actually I'm kind of curious here. What are these areas back here? Impulse bay and then a storage bay. Okay. Let's go ahead and go on down here. Now we are just above the primary torpedo launcher bay. In fact, the torpedo launcher is right up there. So this is just a catwalk. Again, more torpedo storage. Again, this is one of those things that was not in either the Webfire or the Sternbach plans, and we realized, yeah, we need more torpedo storage because the ship isn't going to go out there and manufacture torpedoes while it's in battle. It's going to have a ready complement of torpedoes, especially for the main torpedo launcher. It's going to need it. Without it, it's a vulnerable little ship, and the torpedo launcher is where the power is for the Enterprise. Phasers are all good and stuff, but the torpedoes, that's where your bread and butter is going to be at. That's where you're going to put the smack down on some, alien ship that gets out of line. You're going to, fire phasers at it until your phasers are completely discharged. No, you're going to want to smack it down hard with torpedoes. Anyways, let's come through here. You can see all these machines have been added in and things like that. Of course, there are windows, and these are machine rooms, and there are windows. What can I tell you? At some point you just got to say, okay, yeah, they're going to be windows over here because you see the show, you see the windows, but yeah, I mean, granted, we could easily turn these into rooms and things like that, but Am decided she wanted these to be a system base, so, and I don't disagree with her, why not? I mean, of course, somebody just looked through the window and say, oh, there's a shield thing, let's hit it. But, during battle, you would assume that the windows would turn opaque so that you can't see in them, because aren't they transparent aluminum? I don't know. Who knows? It's Star Trek. Yeah, it's Star Trek. Let's go ahead and go on down one more deck here. And of course, this is the deck with the main airlock. We work our way forward again, and we'll go up to the main airlock. Got ourselves a nice little. This is part of the impulse engine setup. This is all new. I just added this a couple of days ago. This is all part of the impulse bay. You can see that the impulse engines come down through here, and trim fuel lines, and these are all labeled what they are. But yeah, these are just new systems that I made a couple of days ago. So I didn't know what else to put in here because it was just vaguely labeled impulse bay stuff. So went ahead and did the best I could. Figured, got to have something to pump the stuff up from the tank into the impulse engines. Might as well make that stuff work, That's what it's labeled for. Anyways, up through here, again, this is the main torpedo bay. Let's go ahead and get off that so we don't get squished. There's the torpedo launcher herself. Right there. Big-ass torpedo launcher in her glory. That's the big gun. Of course, if that thing went down, they're pretty well screwed, because all they then have is the aft torpedo launcher and the small torpedo launcher, which is in the saucer, which you cannot access until the saucer separates from the drive hull. And then you have an aft torpedo launcher on the saucer. Yeah. Logic. Okay, let's go ahead and... There's the airlock. One of 4, I believe, on this hull. Actually, there's more than 4, but 4 that we have access to right now. But let's go ahead and get out of here, and I'll show you another revision I made real quick before I end the video, because I've been loud-mouthing it long enough. Alright, you see down through here, I went ahead and put the windows in that are reminiscent of the way they look in the show. So this whole neck area is pretty close to the way you would, if you saw the show, you would see a lot of the windows line up. Almost, I'd say we're within the ballpark, pretty close to it. But down through here, we had to make some revisions. This section right through here, all had to be changed. Beforehand, it was a very narrow rooms, and most of this was backfilled in. And I went ahead and pulled this section out, and first I put the windows in according to the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I tried to get it as close as I could to the images that I was looking at. And I did the best that I could. And what I did then is, starting with right here, I went ahead and pulled all the sections out and just ripped this whole area out. And beforehand, this wall it came right down like this, right along the hull. So I just got rid of the walls, got rid of all the walls through there, and I reconfigured this entire area here. And now we have a nice sized little security area here, with windows. And here's one of the additions that we did. We have to have a way for the gangways to get from each deck down into the drive hull, all the way down to the bottom of the ship, and of course all the way up to deck 1A with the bridge. And there are no, in the sternblock plans and the Wi-Fi plan, there were no gangways. There were gangways, but they weren't very, they didn't do much. What I did is I added this causeway here. I believe it's called a causeway, and this causeway allows us to center the stairwell. Now the stairwell is slightly off, so if you come through here, you'll note that there's a slight variance from side to side. This one is flush with the wall, whereas this one is not. And the reason for it is because the ship is 2-beam center, but I didn't need a 2-beam center when it came to the stairwell. I just needed to be able to, use the wraparound of the stairwell to get down and stuff. So that's why that's slightly off. But this transitions back out to the side of the ship or to the front and stuff. So this this has no effect. It's just one of those things. If you see it, it'll look well, it's slightly off, but it's done by design. So don't let your panties get in a wad over that. But yeah, came through here, and this is another new system that I just added a couple of nights back, and got it up and running. But yeah, did all this stuff through here, and come through here, and that shunt line that runs all the way up to the spine, that goes all the way up to that interlock that we discussed earlier, and then of course the umbilical up into the saucer, and then it runs all the way through the saucer, and it goes like this all the way up the saucer to just below the bridge, and then all the way down to just above the captain's yacht. That's the main power shunt. That right there is the main power shunt for both it allows the power to go directly from the warp core throughout the ship. And from there, everything else comes off of that. Come down through here. We're now inside of a Jeffers tube, and we are literally at the top of the deuterium tanks. So, okay, that is really weird. Because, okay, yeah, very odd. This was done. I did this the other night. Why is this not Oh my god, damn it. This pisses me off. All of this was done. It was done. Why in God's name is it undone now? What the hell? Fuck me, I gotta pull this deck back out and do that again. So, yeah, that's just... God damn it. Ugh. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here. As you can see, this is the deuterium tank right here. And come down here and see, maybe we're working on the deck down here, which I doubt, because I'm pretty sure that was all done. Nope, I think I am working on it down here. Get down here, come on, let me down here. Yeah, I am working on it down here. Okay, so this is where we're at now. Yeah, that's why, I'll show you here, so I tell you, I'm not crazy. I swear to God, here it is right here. So, yeah, I just haven't put it back up in the ship yet because I'm still working on the tractor beam emitter area up there. So, and there's a small area back here I got to fill into, I believe. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. This is where we're at now, deck 27. And got to go all the way down to deck 42, I believe. Yeah, check that out. There's the back of the ship. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with back here. I might actually remove this right here. I don't know yet. I don't think we actually have to remove it, but I might actually remove a section of it, kind of make it a little bit more unique looking and so forth. But you have to have elevators to move stuff around, and of course you have this right here which goes all the way up there and so forth. So a lot of cool stuff going on yet to be done. But anyways, I do appreciate you watching, and hope to have a good day. Bye-bye.